inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now, with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we are finishing off Rise of the Ogre Horde by finally tackling the furniture. So we got a bunch of different furniture here, all primed black, just rattle can black, and yeah, we're going to get to it. We're going to smash them out real quick, real easy. Let's get to it. Now I know you guys have all been waiting for the furniture. That's everybody's most exciting thing to paint is the furniture of Hero Quest. But here we're starting with the double doors, and we're going to do our stone. The reason why we painted these black with no dry brushing, no zenithal, is because we're going to do a cool green stone effect. This is probably my favorite kind of stonework to do. It's kind of Aztec-y, or I don't know, it gives me that kind of feel, and I use it on a lot of my own home terrain for kind of wargaming and skirmish stuff. So we're going to use it here because I think it's kind of appropriate for these cool ogres to have this interesting stonework. So as you've seen, we started with Cabalite green. I always want to say Calibite, but it's Cabalite green, and we just do a heavy dry brush all over the place, leaving like the bottom 25% lighter of a dry brush. So we have really heavy on the top, working in like a ramp downwards. Then you saw we also had Tyrant Skull. We're going to use that as a very nice kind of edgy dry brush, right? Just touching the edges, just getting that going. And then from there, since we primed this sucker in black, we're going to go in with Wraithbone and then touch up any places that we wanted to be brighter, such as those vines, the torches, etc., and then go in with an even brighter one for anything that we need to be brighter. And of course, the door inlay, well, we want that to be our normal kind of contrast painting way, so we just dry brush the crap out of that guy. So that gets us all cut up to where we are now, and we lay down the law with our snake bite leather, doing that for our woodwork like we normally do, hitting all the wood, all of our oakiness with that paint, using Mantis Warriors green for the vine. We've done that before on those other doors from the other sets. We're just steamrolling through this sucker because it's terrain. We can afford to be rougher with it. This is meant to be tossed around, thrown around, blown up. It's had stories to them. It's set dressing. We can be fast. So we have Ayand in yellow. When it's still wet, put on that Griff Charger. When it's still wet, put on that red. When it's still wet, put on that black, and just build up and wet blend those colors for your torches. You just apply them in diminishing areas and let them blend together. And if you get a little too much here or there, just go back with your white or your Wraithbone and just do it again, mix them around, and you'll get a cool blend. We have some metal on here that we're going to use our gunmetal on and just pop that all around on these torches, on their sconces, their wall sconces, the proper term. And then we hit that up with Nuln Oil Gloss. That paint don't exist no more, so put on a dark tone shade and then a glossy coat over top if you got that. You can also mix them together. We're putting chrome on here for our highlights, and we're just doing some chunky ones, not really going too crazy, popping them on there, scratches, etc., dirty it up, grime it up, bling it up. You see we're doing it also on the door here. We have a lot of flat surfaces. Just scratch it on there, have some chunky highlights, make it interesting. Alright, now we have the stone door. We're starting it off much the same. So Cabalite green, again, this is going to be in a gradient, a ramping gradient from the heaviest on the top to the lightest on the bottom. 100% on the top, 25% on the bottom. And then hitting all the edges with Tyrant Skull. Looks a little greeny here, but it is a bit yellower in real life and gives you this kind of cool look. Again, ramping it down. Now for the gold that's on this, or I chose it to be gold, I thought it was kind of cool like that, we're going to use Balthazar gold, or any kind of darker tone metallic you got going on in your own stash. we're going to apply Reichland Flesh Shade Gloss, or again, because this paint doesn't exist, you can put a flesh tone and then a gloss coat over top. That'll just help darken down some crevices and blend in anything you missed painting. You saw real quick we put Retributor Armor on here. Normally I would dry brush Retributor Armor for this effect, but because we've already finished the stonework, we're going to be a little more deliberate and attack those raised areas more with that gold and just sort of be rough and scuff it in. And then as you see here, we're putting in some highlights, just dotting them in with our chrome just to finish it off. That's 2 down, 1 more to go, and you know how we're starting this one off. Again, we're using Cabalite Green, and we are going to do our ramping dry brush, heavy on the top, light on the bottom, followed by Tyrant Skull or any kind of yellowy, pale yellow that you got. We're going to just dry brush that down. Again, more heavy on the top, lighter on the bottom, but with that Tyrant Skull, you want to just get the edges. You don't want to make it all yellow. Similar to our stone door, we're going to do some gold accents here and just go around and add some gold details all around. That face looks like a prime subject, as well as some of these runes in the front. You can see that they're kind of carved out as well. You can see what I chose to do for the design here, all broken out as we apply our Reichland Flesh Gloss, or as you're going to do a flesh tone and then a gloss coat over top. Followed by our Retributor. Again, normally I would dry brush this on, but because we already have that stonework done, I don't want to cross-contaminate. We're going to be more deliberate, and we're just going to put some scratchy, chunky gold on top of our more flat surfaces, our topmost surfaces. Followed up by Chrome, hitting up all those little corners and details, breaking up that surface area to give us some points of interest around all that gold. Now for the cloth on the seat, I chose to do a red, so I've got Mephiston red here. And we're not using contrast, we're just using normal paints and building them up layer after layer. So because it's black, I did have to do 2 layers, so thin your paints, 2 thin coats, as good old Dunk would say. We're also using Evil Sun Scarlet, again, just putting this on top to give us some more interest. This is going to be our layer highlight, just building it up and doing some more scratchy, kind of back and forth to give texture to this topmost area as well. Again, taking about 2 coats, 2 thin coats, 2 or 3 to build up that effect. We got Mournfang Brown, again, 2 thin coats, building it up over that black. And then a dry brush of Longbeard Gray or any kind of cool gray, neutral gray that you got to just give us some texture back onto that fur. Using Agrax Earthshade to accentuate that texture and just get it all around there, kind of bring back some of that shading. And then Black Templar finally on those claws just to clean them up. And there you have it. That is the last of the miniatures left for Rise of the Ogre Horde. Our furniture is finished. Here we have our door. A little shiny here because my varnish was still drying, but I had a matte varnish. That'll just even out once it's all dry. Either way, here's what that door looks like. Really like the contrast between the green and the gold. I think it gives it a really cool look, like a magical fantasy kind of Aztec thing. Maybe something you'd see in those lizard folk from Fantasy Warhammer, the Seraphon. Maybe something they would have. I don't know. I think it's a really cool mix that we got going on here. That's the stone throne complete. And then here we have our 2 pieces for the double doors. We got the stone outside and our inlay that goes right in the center, our big gate. But with that, that is it for this expansion. We're going to be moving on to greener pastures. We're done with these big ol' ogres. We get something fun, something new, something interesting in our next expansion. Jungles of Delthrak. Lots of cool stuff in there. Really looking forward to painting a big gorilla guy with crystals and stuff. Wild stuff. Going to be super fun. Looking forward to it. Next up, we're going to put our painting on hold to do a little unboxing. my first impressions of what's inside. So I hope you'll come and join me for that as we go over the contents of the box and then jump right back into painting tutorials again. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys are looking forward to. If you guys want me to take a little detour in between expansions, paint something else. Or if you'd rather we just keep the Hero Quest train going till we reach the final stop. As always, thank you everyone for watching. Big thanks to my patrons, and bye-bye!